Slovakia halts emergency power supplies to Ukraine over Russian oil dispute. Slovakia had issued a 2-day ultimatum to Ukraine to reopen the Soviet-era Druzhba pipeline so that it could receive Russian oil deliveries. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has said his country will halt emergency electricity supplies to Ukraine until Kyiv reopens a key pipeline transporting Russian oil to Slovakia, making good on an ultimatum he issued to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Fico's announcement on Monday came 2 days after he warned Zelensky on social media that he would ask state-owned company SPS to halt emergency supplies of electricity if flows of Russian crude oil via the Soviet-era Druzhba pipeline crossing Ukraine did not resume. As of today, if the Ukrainian side turns to Slovakia with a request for assistance in stabilizing the Ukrainian energy grid, such assistance will not be provided, Fico said in a video on his Facebook page. Ukrainian grid operator Ukrenergo said in a statement that it had not been officially informed yet, but that it would not affect the situation in the unified power system of Ukraine. The last time Ukraine requested emergency assistance from Slovakia was over a month ago and in a very limited volume, it said. Fico said the stoppage would be lifted as soon as the transit of oil to Slovakia is restored. Otherwise, we will take further reciprocal steps, he said, adding his country would also reconsider its previously constructive positions on Ukraine's EU membership. He said the stalled oil supply was a purely political decision aimed at blackmailing Slovakia over its international positions on the war in Ukraine. Slovakia and neighboring Hungary, which have both remained dependent on Russian oil since the Kremlin launched its invasion of Ukraine almost 4 years ago, have become increasingly vocal in demanding that Kyiv resume deliveries through the Druzhba pipeline, which was shut down after what Ukraine said was a Russian drone strike hit infrastructure in late January. Ukraine says it is fixing the damage on the pipeline, which still carries Russian oil over Ukrainian territory to Europe, as fast as it can. Slovakia and Hungary say Ukraine is to blame for the prolonged outage and have declared emergencies over the cut in oil deliveries. The EU imposed a ban on most oil imports from Russia in 2022, but the Druzhba pipeline was exempted to give landlocked Central European countries time to find alternative oil supplies. Meanwhile, the European Union failed to agree on new sanctions on Russia for the 4th anniversary of Europe's biggest war since World War II, after Hungary vetoed the move. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, the friendliest EU leader to the Kremlin, is stalling the sanctions and a €90 billion €106 billion EU loan to Ukraine until Kyiv reopens the oil pipeline. Fico also said he has refused to involve the Slovak Republic in the latest EU loan due to Zelensky's unacceptable behavior, alluding to Ukraine's earlier halting of Russian gas supplies after a 5-year-old transit agreement expired on January 1, 2025. Which Fico claimed is costing Slovakia damages of €500 million €590 per year. Hungary and Slovakia have accounted for 68% of Ukraine's imported power this month, according to Kyiv-based consultancy Expro. It was not immediately clear if emergency electricity supplies were included in that figure. You have reached the end of our in-depth report. For more deep dives into global affairs and breaking news updates, please subscribe to Neuron News Global and enable all notifications. Stay informed, stay ahead. See you in the next broadcast.